Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Monday, February the 28th. Now we do have a 7-game Monday slate. As always guys, we're going to talk through each one of today's games, each one of these 7 games, break down each team, kind of give my early thoughts, taking a first look at this slate on Sunday night. And then as we do go through each game, we will build out an early core. We'll talk about 5 players that specifically stand out to me on both DraftKings and on Yahoo at first look. But before we get started with the breakdown, please do hit the like button down below, guys. I do always appreciate the likes. And if you are new to the channel here, make sure to click that subscribe button as well. We are on the road to 25,000 subscribers. Hopefully we're going to hit that milestone within the next month or so. If you're new and you have not yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It is free. You'll see all my videos in your subscription feed. So that way, if you ever want to come back to the channel, you want to watch any of the new videos, they'll be right there right when you sign into YouTube. So definitely hit that subscribe button. And also, if you're new, check out PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You can go sign up for PrizePicks and use code NOAH when you do, and PrizePicks will give you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. Now, PrizePicks, they're more of a player prop-based DFS site, so they're a little bit different than DraftKings, than FanDuel, than Yahoo. You're not necessarily building out a lineup, competing against other players. It's just you versus their projections. So you can see their projections. They do already have some stuff posted for Monday's games. You can take a look at their point projections, rebounds, assists, point, rebounds, assists added up together. They also have fantasy point projections too. So, if you have access to fantasy point projections yourself, or if you make your own projections, you can compare your projections to PrizePicks and decide, if you want to go over or under on a certain player. But you can win up to 10 extra money over on PrizePicks. If you guys want to check them out, make sure to sign up and use code NOAH. They'll match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But yeah, guys, let's take a look at Monday's slate. I do want to mention that I will have my video up for PrizePicks right now. I am making a video, at least trying to make a video every day for PrizePicks specifically. So for those of you that do already play on PrizePicks, later Monday afternoon, probably around 11, 12 Eastern, early Monday morning, early afternoon kind of. I'll try and get my video up for PrizePicks, talking through some of my favorite plays for this PrizePicks slate. Make sure to check that out later on Monday if you are playing on PrizePicks already. But yeah, guys, let's take a look at this 7-game slate. We're going to start off with the Minnesota and Cleveland game. And looking at the Minnesota side here, there's not a ton that really stands out from the Timberwolves. They're fully healthy pretty much. It's a tough matchup as well on the road against Cleveland. Cleveland, really good defensive team. They play pretty slow as well. At 9,800, I don't think Karl-Anthony Towns really stands out as like a great option on this slate. It's a tough matchup. There's definitely other studs I'd be paying up for. I think Cat is nothing more than just like a low-owned dart throw. I think the same could be said for D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards too. Now, I think given the discounts that you get dropping down from Cat to these guys, I think I'd rather play Russell and Edwards over Cat. Russell's 7,200, it's always tough to predict which one of these Timberwolves guys is going to have the big game on a nightly basis. Some nights it'll be Cat, some nights it'll be Russell, some nights it'll be Ant. Lately Ant's really been struggling. He's had 4 straight just really bad games. The price tag on Ant has come way down. We normally don't see him priced at 7K. Normally he's a guy that's priced in the 8K range. So I think with the poor play recently, we are getting a discount on Anthony Edwards. I think these guys are tournament viable, but the matchup against Cleveland, the tough spot, I just don't think I'm going out of my way to play really anyone on Minnesota. If I had to go to anyone on this team, it would definitely be Russell and Ant for me. Probably Russell my favorite, but don't love a ton from the Timberwolves today. And then on the Cleveland side, Cleveland's a team I have a little bit more interest in just because they are dealing with some injuries right now. Darius Garland is still out, Caris LeVert's out, and Rajon Rondo's out as well. We saw this same scenario in their last game, and Brandon Goodwin, we'll start off with him first. He did start at point guard last game with all those guys out, and he played a ton of minutes. He played 38 minutes. He wasn't super productive. He only had 23 DraftKings points, but obviously the minutes were there. The shot attempts were solid. He took 11 shots. He just didn't shoot the ball that well. So I want to say he could have had a way better game if he could have just made some shots. He did contribute with 5 rebounds and 6 assists. He's a guy that has been pretty productive when he's got an opportunity. And obviously right now, with how depleted Cleveland is in the backcourt, there's going to be a lot of minutes available for Brandon Goodwin. The price tag did go up to $5,200, but I still think Brandon Goodwin is a pretty solid play, especially with how many minutes he should be getting on a nightly basis, and he's really cheap on Yahoo, so I definitely like Brandon Goodwin over there. He's only $13 on Yahoo. He's for sure one of the better value plays, just kind of at first look. He's definitely my favorite play from this Cleveland team in general, but you could go to Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I don't hate either one of those guys. Matchup against Cat, I think, is pretty favorable for Jared Allen. Cat's never really been a good defender. He's never really been a great rebounder either. So I definitely think this is a spot where Allen could really dominate on the boards, could have a big double-double. He's always a guy that can block shots as well. I think Jared Allen at 7,300 is a solid play. Evan Mobley at 6,900, I don't hate either, but I definitely would prefer Allen over Mobley if I had to pick one of the two. The rest of Cleveland, like Lauri Markkanen, Kevin Love, I don't really like these guys. Jetty Osman should play a little bit more off the bench with all these guards out. As a low-on dart throw in tournaments, I don't hate him at 4,400. He did play 29 minutes last game off the bench. He probably will get similar run today. They'll use him a lot like as a backup point guard. He'll have the ball in his hands a lot when he's out there. So like Jetty Osman, I don't hate for value at 4,400. But I think that's it for the Cavs. I think that's really everyone that stands out here. So next game, Indiana and Orlando. Looking at Indiana today, this is a back-to-back for the Pacers. So keep an eye on the injury report. Malcolm Brogdon's one guy I do want to talk about just because he is coming back from an Achilles injury. They've been limiting his minutes for the most part since he's come back. But with it being a back-to-back, I would not be surprised if Malcolm Brogdon winds up sitting today. That will be something to monitor. If that does happen, that'll definitely be a bump for Tyrese Halliburton, bump for Buddy Hield as well. All these Indiana guys have kind of been priced up. They've been playing really well. Halliburton, Hield, these guys have been playing really, really big minutes. But I think 8,600 for Halliburton, that's probably, he's priced where he should be. If Malcolm Brogdon does wind up sitting on the back-to-back, then that'll make me a little bit more interested in Halliburton. But at 8,600, I don't think Halliburton's like a standout play today. He's obviously viable because he has a lot of upside. But at 8,600, again, I think he's priced where he should be. Buddy Hield's been really good lately, but his price is all the way up to 7K now. So I think for 7K, I'm fine getting off Buddy Hield here. He should still play big minutes. But again, 7K, you're going to need 40-plus DraftKings points from Buddy Hield to be worth his price tag. Does he have 40-point upside with his role right now? He absolutely does. He's going to play huge minutes. But I think 7K, nothing more than a contrarian option for me. O'Shea Brissett's been playing really well. He's also been getting big minutes. He's been starting, been playing 37, 34 minutes last two games, been really productive. Outside of that one game against Milwaukee, really ever since he's been inserted into the starting lineup, he's put up at least 33 DraftKings points in every start that he's made outside of the Milwaukee game. Is he going to put up 30-plus DK points today? I don't really know, but I think 5,900 for O'Shea Brissett, he's still a fine option, in my opinion, because he will play probably 32 to 34 minutes here. And then the rest of Indiana, Isaiah Jackson's been starting at center, but he only played 20 minutes on Sunday against Boston. That was obviously a tougher matchup. I think he did get into some foul trouble in that game. Isaiah Jackson has been pretty productive when he does get minutes, but even in the last two games he started, his minutes really haven't been that good. So not super interested in Isaiah Jackson at 5,800. Chris Duarte at 5,400. I think it's kind of priced where he should be, if not a little bit overpriced. He's going to come off the bench, probably play mid to high 20s minutes. I don't think he really stands out. The rest of Indiana, I'm not that interested in. Jalen Smith has been playing solid off the bench, but 4,900, he's another guy that I think is priced where he should be for what his role is off the bench. It's probably it from the Pacers. I think my favorite guy here is probably O'Shea Brissett, but I don't mind Buddy Hield, even though I think he is a little bit overpriced right now. I will say that if Brogdon does sit on a back-to-back, which is possible, that would make my interest in Hield and Halliburton go up a little bit. But that's really it from Indiana. I think that's everyone that stands out here. So on the other side of this game, looking at the Magic, the Magic, they're a team I don't really like to roster too heavily, but it's hard not to look to some of these guys because lately Orlando has been running a fairly tight rotation. They've been playing their starters pretty good minutes. Last game we saw most of their starters play big minutes. 35 minutes from Wendell Carter. Cole Anthony was in foul trouble. He still played 31 minutes. Franz Wagner, I'm pretty sure, played big minutes too. He played 29 minutes. So I think most of the starters will play 30 to 32 minutes at least if the game stays close. That includes Carter, Anthony, Wagner, Suggs. Now, Mo Bamba, he's been starting, but his minutes have not been that great. He only played 25 minutes last game. I'm not super interested in him, but I think Wendell Carter, Cole Anthony, Wagner are all viable. Do want to mention that Markelle Fultz will actually be making his season debut today. We haven't seen Markelle Fultz play once this season. I'm guessing he'll be on a very strict minutes restriction. Him coming off the bench, though, that's another guy that can take minutes away from Cole Anthony, from Jalen Suggs. I don't think it's going to impact them too much, but did want to mention that Fultz is probable and is expected to make his debut today. But yeah, I think Wendell Carter's fine. I think Cole Anthony is 6,800 is a decent option. Don't even hate Jalen Suggs at 5,400. Jalen Suggs was god-awful last game, but he was in massive foul trouble. He played only 15 minutes. He fouled out, he had 6 fouls. He fouled out in 15 minutes. Obviously, that's not something we can predict to happen again. But yeah, I think that's probably what I'm looking to from Orlando. Mainly the starters here, the three guys we talked about, Carter, Anthony, Wagner. Rest of the Magic, Suggs too, but the rest of those guys I'm not super interested in, like Okeke, Bamba, Harris, Hampton. I'm not going to any of these guys. It's just those 3-4 guys that we talked about that are in play for me. Next game, though, we can talk about Toronto and Brooklyn. So Toronto today, they could be, somewhat shorthanded. They're still without OG Anunoby. I think he's going to be out for a few weeks, if I remember correctly. But the big news to watch will be Fred VanVleet. So Fred VanVleet was questionable Saturday. It was reported that he was unlikely to play, and then he wound up playing, had a really good game. He played 35 minutes, just super weird situation last game with VanVleet unlikely to play and then wound up playing. He's questionable for today. We don't really know any update yet on VanVleet. Obviously, if VanVleet sits, that's a boost for Pascal Siakam. It's a boost for Gary Trent. It's a boost for Scotty Barnes. I think all three of those guys would be really solid options here if VanVleet winds up sitting, just because without OG as well, we know that Siakam, Trent, Barnes are going to get heavy roles. They're going to play big minutes, and their prices have all come down a little bit. Like Siakam's only 8,400. I know he's been really bad lately, but I think this matchup against Brooklyn's really good for him. I think without potentially VanVleet, without OG, like we could see Siakam have a really massive role here. So if VanVleet sits, I really like the main three Raptors: Siakam, Trent, and Scotty Barnes. I think all three look really good. Scotty Barnes, though, I think is a solid option regardless. So Scotty Barnes has been pretty productive with OG Anunoby off the floor. He actually does see a nice bump up in his fantasy points per minute. His usage also takes a little bump as well. He's had some really good games, with OG off the floor just in the past. Had a really good game against Charlotte where he played 32 minutes in a blowout, only had 38 DK points. And then last game against Atlanta, that was not a good game, but that was just not a good game in general for the entire Raptors team. The Raptors got blown out. None of the starters played really well. I think we get a bounce back here. The Raptors have gotten blown out in back-to-back games now. I think this is a game that they should be able to keep close. This game, we should see all the starters play their full minutes, and I think, Siakam, Trent, Barnes are all in play for me. Obviously, those guys get bumps if VanVleet sits, but Scotty Barnes, I definitely like at 5,700. I think regardless of if VanVleet is in or out, Scotty Barnes is in play for me, and obviously, if VanVleet sits, that just makes Scotty Barnes look even better. And then on Yahoo at $21, I do like Scotty Barnes over there as well. Now, the rest of Toronto, I think to go to these guys, I would probably want VanVleet to be out. So, like, if VanVleet is out, then we can maybe look to, like, Chris Boucher. Toronto, they run, like, really weird rotations. Even though VanVleet's, like, if he does get ruled out, that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, Banton or Malachi Flynn are going to play a ton of minutes, even though those are technically their backup point guards. We'll see Toronto play, like, Gary Trent at the point, and then they'll start, like, Boucher alongside Siakam. Like, they'll just do a lot of weird things. Definitely keep an eye on the starting lineup here, but if VanVleet does get ruled out and, like, Chris Boucher starts or something, I would really, really like Chris Boucher for value. They have been starting Kim Birch lately, but he hasn't really been doing anything. So, like, even if Kim Birch starts again, I'm not interested in him. But definitely would like Boucher, like, if he winds up starting in place of VanVleet. If they do decide to start either Banton or Flynn, I don't think they would. But, like, if VanVleet does sit and they start one of those guys, then that's obviously a spot we could look to for value. But right now, I'm really going to be focusing on the main guys: Siakam, VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent, and obviously those other three guys will look really good if VanVleet winds up sitting. We'll definitely have to pay attention to that news. That is one of the bigger injuries to watch for today's slate. But let's move on to the other side of this game with Brooklyn. So Brooklyn, going to be without all their key guys: no KD, no Ben Simmons, and this, since it's the home game, Kyrie Irving cannot play. So without all these guys, I mean, we can expect pretty good roles for Seth Curry, for Bruce Brown, for Patty Mills. I don't think at their price points, I don't think they're great plays today. I mean, Seth Curry at 5,900 would probably be my favorite of those guards to go to. Seth Curry's role has been really good ever since he got traded to Brooklyn. He's definitely played really well. He's been playing big minutes as well. I think not having Kyrie is better for Seth Curry. We've seen him have good games. Previous games when Kyrie was out, the game against Boston when Kyrie was out, these other games against the Knicks, against Sacramento, Kyrie was out for those games. So I definitely think that, without Kyrie, obviously no KD, no Simmons either, that Seth Curry at 5,900 is firmly in play. Patty Mills did come off the bench last game with Kyrie in, but I'm guessing now that Kyrie's sitting, we'll probably see Patty Mills move back in the starting lineup. Patty Mills has been a total headache this year. It seems like he either just does complete shit or he has really, really good game. There's no in between for Patty Mills. Patty Mills is either going to score 15 fantasy points or he's going to score 40. There's no in between with this guy. So if you get lucky and roster him on the good day that he plays well, obviously that could be something that does good for you in tournaments. I assume Patty Mills will be really low owned. Don't hate him as a low owned dart throw. Bruce Brown's been getting big minutes. He's been playing well. 5,100, I think the price has gotten to a point where Bruce Brown doesn't stand out as a great play, but if they're going to keep playing Bruce Brown 30-plus minutes a night, I mean, he's obviously got upside if he's going to continue to play those minutes. The one guy, though, that I do like quite a bit from from Brooklyn is Andre Drummond. Now, Andre Drummond, ever since he got traded to Brooklyn, his minutes have kind of been up and down. He's played 5 games with the Nets, and in those 5 games, he started all 5 games, but his minutes have gone 24, 23, 19, 20, and then last game he played 29 minutes. Now, we don't really know what the minutes are going to look like today. You never know what Steve Nash is going to do with these rotations. But as of late, it basically has been a pretty even split between LaMarcus Aldridge and Andre Drummond in terms of the center minutes. Blake Griffin did not play last game. Nicholas Claxton's been out of the rotation. It's pretty much just Drummond and Aldridge getting the center minutes. I think it's going to depend on who's playing better, on who gets more minutes. Last game, Drummond played well, so they gave him 29 minutes. We know that Drummond is a really, really good point-per-minute player. If he does get anywhere near the 29 minutes that he played last game, I mean, he is pretty likely to do really well at this salary. 6,100 is definitely too cheap for Drummond if he plays 28, 29 minutes. Now, is he guaranteed to play those minutes? Obviously not. He could play 20 minutes today, and I would not be surprised. But I think with how good of a point-per-minute player that Drummond is, I'm willing to take a shot on him. I think it's a first-look option. I like Drummond in tournaments at 6,100. Just because, if he gets those minutes again, he's got big-time upside. He's fairly cheap on Yahoo, $26. I don't mind going to Drummond over there either. This will be something to keep an eye on. If Drummond, if he starts to get steamed up, if he's a guy that's going to be really, really chalky, that's something that I would be fine, moving off of, because I think there's a lot of volatility with Drummond's, with his minutes. He could play like 18 minutes, he could play 30 minutes. There's a wide range of outcomes here, but like if nobody's going to play Drummond, I'm fine just taking a shot on him and hoping that he plays like 30 minutes again. If he does, very likely that he does well at 6,100. So that's kind of my breakdown of this Brooklyn team. I think Drummond's my favorite play here. Seth Curry's viable as well. Don't hate Bruce Brown. Patty Mills in tournaments. If you want to play him and hope he does good today, by all means go ahead. But I'm just so tired of rostering Patty Mills. I've lost so much money on this dude. So yeah, I think that's it for the Nets. We can go ahead and move on to the next game. Talk about Chicago and Miami. So looking at Chicago today, all their big guys are healthy right now except for like Lonzo and Caruso. So DeRozan, Vooch, LaVine, I don't know if any of these 3 guys really stand out on this slate. It's a tougher matchup against Miami. Miami's been one of the better defensive teams this season. I know that DeMar DeRozan has been playing like out of his mind lately. It's now been 6 straight games over 50 Draftkings points. I still think at 10,200, like DeRozan's priced where he should be, especially for this tough matchup. He doesn't really stand out to me. Vooch in a tough spot against Bam, I don't love. I think with the discount we're getting on Vooch, like he was priced up above 10K, and now his price has come down to 9,200 just because he's had some bad games recently. I don't mind Vooch at 9,200. LaVine, though, probably my favorite Chicago guy. That's kind of how it's been the last few games, just because LaVine is so much cheaper than Vooch and DeRozan. I know LaVine hasn't been as good as DeRozan has, but when you're getting almost $2,000 in savings, like I think LaVine has just as much upside, can put up 50-plus Draftkings points any night. Again, I don't love any of these Chicago guys, but if I had to play someone from the Bulls, I think LaVine would definitely be the first guy I'd look to, just given the price tag and given the savings. The rest of the Bulls, I'm not really interested in, like Kobe White and Ayo. They don't really stand out anymore at their price tags, especially for this tough matchup. Not too much to like from Chicago today. Now, on the Miami side, there is a good amount I like on Miami, because Miami is going to be missing Kyle Lowry, and that does kind of just, tighten things up a little bit. Without Kyle Lowry, we can expect Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero to all have really, really good roles, play big minutes, get a lot of usage. Jimmy Butler, I'm guessing, will start at point guard here. Normally, whenever Kyle Lowry is out, they'll just slide Jimmy to point guard, let him be the primary ball handler. His assist numbers have been really good with Lowry off the floor this season, so I think the assist numbers should see a spike. We obviously know Jimmy can score, he can get rebounds. He's got triple-double upside any night. 8,900. I don't hate Jimmy on this slate. I think Jimmy's a viable option. Bam at 8,800, you could go to as well. I would definitely prefer Jimmy over Bam. I know Bam has been better as of late. He's been putting up some really big games. Obviously, Bam is a really good player. He's got a lot of upside, but on the season, when you look at fantasy points per minute, Jimmy is a slightly better fantasy point per minute player than Bam. So I would definitely just prefer Jimmy between the two, given they're closely priced. And then you have Tyler Hero at 6,300. I think Tyler Hero, probably won't start here. Normally they don't start Tyler Hero, even with Lowry out. I think, Hero's still going to come off the bench and play big minutes, though. I mean, even though he comes off the bench, he usually plays over 30 minutes. Usually when he checks in, he doesn't check out to the end of the quarter. So like Hero, he'll probably check in, early, halfway through the first quarter, and then he'll play the entire first quarter. He'll probably play the entire second quarter as well. And usually that puts him on pace to play 32, 33 minutes. So Hero should still play big minutes off the bench. Obviously without, Lowry, there's just more opportunity available for all these guys. I think 6,300 for Hero. You know, the price tag really didn't move at all. He's been having really good games ever since he came back from that knee injury. Played really well, 31 and 34 minutes, 44, 35 DraftKings points. He should get more opportunity here with Lowry out. I think it's 6,300. Tyler Hero is definitely someone I'm looking to on this slate. I do like him quite a bit on both sides. On Yahoo, if you want to play Tyler Hero over there, $26. I think he's a very solid option on Yahoo too. Hero is probably my favorite play from Miami when you factor in price point, but definitely have interest in Jimmy. Don't mind going to Bam either. You know, the value from Miami, I don't know if there's much value here. Depending on what the starting lineup looks like if they start Gabe Vincent for 3,600, I don't hate Gabe Vincent. He's been getting decent minutes, you know, even before Lowry was out. Now that Lowry is out today, you would think Vincent probably plays more, so he'll probably play around 30 minutes at 3,600. Definitely would feel better about him if he starts, but firmly in play. Could see more minutes for Duncan Robinson. Could maybe Max Strus gets in the rotation. I don't think Max Strus was in the rotation last game, but maybe he'll get some minutes today. I think the big beneficiary in terms of value, if you're looking for a value play on Miami, you're probably going to be looking to either one of Duncan Robinson or Gabe Vincent. I think Vincent at 3,600, probably my favorite cheap play on the Heat today. Maybe, you could go to Caleb Martin too, but Vincent I do like at 3,600 with Lowry out as a potential value play. But that's really it from Miami. We can go ahead and move on to the next game, San Antonio and Memphis. So San Antonio today, obviously, they were super, super depleted on Saturday's slate. They were basically missing their entire team. They rested everyone. Well, pretty much everyone that sat on Saturday is going to play today. So they're basically back to full strength. With San Antonio at full strength today, I don't know if there's a ton that stands out from the Spurs except for the main guys like DeJounte Murray, Jakob Poeltl. DeJounte Murray is 10-6. I never have an issue going to DeJounte Murray. The dude has massive, massive upside. He can put up a triple-double any night. He has 60, 70-point upside. Matchup against Memphis, I don't think it's that bad for him. They have played earlier this year. Murray did put up a triple-double, went for 52 DraftKings points. On this slate, does DeJounte Murray stand out as a guy that I'm trying to force into my lineups? I don't think so. But obviously, you could play DeJounte. The dude can put up a huge game any night. He's probably my favorite play from the Spurs in general. Jakob Poeltl at 7,300 you could go to as well. If this game does stay close, Poeltl should play 32, 33 minutes. Matchup against Steven Adams, I don't think that's great for Poeltl or anything, but he's been a really productive player when he's gotten minutes. He should play low to mid 30s minutes. I don't know why, but the box score, it's so funny. The box score is completely fucked up from last game. It says Jakob Poeltl played 53 minutes last game. It did go to double overtime, but Poeltl did not play 53 minutes. DeJounte Murray, I think he actually did play 43 minutes, but yeah, I don't know why the box scores are so messed up from last game. 46 minutes for Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell. 42 minutes, just crazy. I don't know why Poeltl's, though, says he played 53 minutes last game, because obviously I don't think that happened. But yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the other side of this game. I think from San Antonio, it's really just Murray and Poeltl that I'm looking to here. Other side, though, with Memphis. So Memphis, kind of similar. You're going to look to the main guys, if anything, like Ja Morant, Triple J, Desmond Bane. I think outside of Ja, I'm not super excited about anyone else on Memphis. If you want to play Triple J or Bane or Adams, I don't hate it, but Ja's the guy that does stand out most from this Grizzlies team. Ja at 9,700, I do like this price tag on him. We're getting a little bit of a discount off of Ja from what some of these other studs we talked about, like Murray is $1,000 more, DeMar DeRozan's more salary. I think I'd rather play Ja over DeMar DeRozan, probably over DeJounte Murray as well. Ja has as much upside as anyone on this slate. If you look at the studs on this slate outside of Giannis, the next most expensive guy is DeJounte Murray. We don't have Jokic, Embiid, LeBron. None of those guys are on this slate. So I definitely think Ja Morant could wind up being the highest scoring player on the slate. Matchup against San Antonio, I think, is pretty good. San Antonio has been playing at a pretty fast pace this season. DeJounte will probably guard Ja, and DeJounte is a good defender, but I don't think he's going to be able to slow Ja down one-on-one. Ja's just been too good this year. He's been unstoppable. He's getting a ton of usage. He's scoring a ton. He's a really good player. I mean, you guys know this. I think Ja Morant's basically in play every slate, and I think at 9,700, he for sure stands out as a solid pay-up option today. He's probably my favorite play from Memphis and the one guy that I do have interest in on this Grizzlies team. Not super excited about anyone else, though. Next game, though, we'll go ahead and talk about Charlotte and Milwaukee. So this is one that, man, if it could stay close, this game has a ton of upside, a ton of appeal. Right now, I think the total in this game is 240-something. Let me see. Yeah, 241.5 over-under in this Charlotte-Milwaukee game. You have two teams that play really, really fast. So far on the season, Charlotte, they are second in pace. Milwaukee, not as fast. Where's Milwaukee at? Let's see. Milwaukee they're sixth in pace. So yeah, both these teams, I mean, they're both top 10 in pace this season. Obviously, Charlotte, they're one of the faster-paced teams in the league. They haven't been great defensively on the season. Their defense has been improving as of late, though, but I still think this game has a lot of appeal if it can stay close. That's the one issue. I think the spread right now is like 10.5. Milwaukee's favored by 10.5. This is a game that does have a little bit of blowout risk, but if it can stay close, there's big-time upside for all these Charlotte guys, especially the main guys. LaMelo, Terry Rozier, Miles Bridges. We know those three are playing big minutes if it's a close game. Now LaMelo, as of late, has been super underwhelming. He hasn't been producing great games, back-to-back stinkers against Toronto and against Detroit. But I think in the spot against Milwaukee, in what should be a very, very fast-paced game, he might see a lot of Drew defense, which is not great. But LaMelo should thrive in these fast-paced games, and I think as a tournament option, he definitely stands out as a very solid low-owned play today. Don't hate going to Rozier or Miles Bridges either. I think 7,500 from Miles Bridges is a little bit too cheap. Miles Bridges should play big minutes here if it's a close game. He played 43 minutes in that overtime game against Detroit on Sunday. You should get big minutes from him again. I think all three of those guys are viable. The rest of Charlotte, I'm not super excited about. Montrezl Harrell, Kelly Oubre, PJ Washington, I don't think these guys really stand out. It's really just the top three, LaMelo, Rozier, Bridges, that I'm looking to on the Hornets. And then on the Bucks side, Giannis, I think on this slate is by far the best pay-up option. Just he's going to project the best out of all the studs. He's obviously really expensive. He's $12K, but man, this is just such a good spot for Giannis. Charlotte is going to have no answer for him. He's done really well against Charlotte this season. They've played 3 times, and he's averaged 65 Draftkings points per game in those 3 games against the Hornets. The matchup's fantastic. If the game stays close and Giannis plays his normal 35, 36 minutes, he's probably going to put up 60-plus fantasy points here. The only issue is that right now, when you look at this slate, at least the night before, there's really not much value, so it's going to be tough to jam in Giannis on the slate unless some value opens up. But if value opens up today, I do want to try and pay up for Giannis because I think he's the top stud on the slate, just raw points. He projects the best out of everybody. The only issue is that the value is tough right now. It's really hard to pay up for Giannis and feel good about the rest of your lineup. But man, the matchup's so good. Giannis just has so much upside here. I really like him. I think the rest of Milwaukee, like Drew and Middleton, Portis, it's a really good matchup, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys does well, but when Giannis is healthy, I just really never play Drew, Middleton, or Portis. Drew would probably be my second favorite guy to go to. Just going up against Charlotte, going up against LaMelo, there's always a potential for some steals there. LaMelo is a guy that will turn the ball over a lot. I'm guessing Drew will guard LaMelo here. It's 7,800. Drew's not a standout play by any means, but the matchup's really good. It's a high over-under. It wouldn't be surprised to see Drew do well or Middleton do well, but Giannis is the guy that really stands out from Milwaukee. Rest of Milwaukee, not too much I really like. So we can go ahead and move on to the last game of the night, Sacramento and OKC. So looking at Sacramento today, when it comes to the Kings, I'm just kind of looking at 2 guys here, Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. I'm not really looking to anyone else on the Kings, like Harrison Barnes and Justin Holiday, Davion Mitchell. I don't think any of these guys really stand out off the bench. I think Sabonis and Fox, definitely stand out a solid place here. It's a really, really good matchup for Sabonis. He should be able to absolutely feast against the Thunder here. I mean, the Thunder have been terrible defensively this season, especially against bigs, against centers, allowing a lot of rebounds. They've been one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. This is definitely a spot where we could see a big-time, double-double, maybe even a triple-double from Sabonis. We know Sabonis can stuff the stat sheet, can do everything. At 9,500, I think Sabonis is priced where he should be. We obviously, we've talked about a lot of pay-up options. You have Giannis, you have DeJounte Murray, you have Ja. I like those guys quite a bit, but I think Sabonis is, definitely one of the better stud options as well if you want to go to him. I think he'd probably be 4th for me behind Giannis, DeJounte, Ja. He'd probably fall 4th for me in terms of favorite pay-up options. We're going to talk about SGA as well. I like SGA quite a bit too, but I definitely think Sabonis is in play here in a really good matchup. And then De'Aaron Fox at 8,500, I don't hate either. He's shown some big upside. His role is really good right now, even with Sabonis on the team. Sabonis really hasn't killed De'Aaron Fox's value. Fox has still been able to have really good games. 49 DraftKings points last game against Denver, 56 against Chicago. He's been playing really, really big minutes. I don't hate Fox either. I think Sabonis and Fox firmly in play. Rest of Sacramento, I'm not really looking to anyone else here. And then on OKC, so SGA, another guy that I like as a pay-up option today. SGA, without Josh Giddey, who is out once again, I think it's going to be, probably one of my favorite studs, just at least right now at first look. We'll have to wait and see what other kind of plays open up, if any value opens up, what other injury news we get. But right now, I definitely like paying up for SGA. I think the matchup's fantastic against Sacramento. Sacramento have been playing at a really, really fast pace this season. They're top 10 in pace. In terms of defensive rating, they got the second worst defensive rating in the league, only behind the Rockets. I mean, they've been one of the worst defensive teams. They play fast. It's a fantastic matchup for SGA here. This game's being played in OKC, so I think that does help to keep it close. I don't think the Kings are good enough to blow out OKC anyway. So if we're going to get like 36, 38 minutes from SGA here, without Josh Giddey, without Lou Dort, I mean, his upside is just massive. And we saw that last game. SGA went for 60 Draftkings points. Like, I would not be surprised if we get another 60 burger here from SGA. Really, really like him on the slate. 9,600 on Draftkings. He's really expensive. Price tag did go up a lot, but I think that high price tag is probably going to keep his ownership a little bit in check. Now, on Yahoo, SGA is a lot more affordable there, so I think he will be a very chalky option on Yahoo. But at $38, he does stand out as a very strong play on Yahoo today. By far, my favorite play from OKC is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The rest of the Thunder, if I had to go to anyone else, I think Trey Mann's the next guy I'm looking to. Now, Trey Mann has not been super productive this season, but like without Josh Giddey and without Lou Dort, I mean, he's basically like their second go-to scorer. And he's kind of been that the last few games. I mean, 30 points against the Knicks, 24 points against San Antonio, 22 points against the Pacers. He's been playing big minutes too. I don't mind Trey Mann at 5,400. I think he's kind of priced where he should be, but man, he's been playing really well. He's been basically the number 2 scorer behind SGA, and I think that should continue today without Giddey and without Dort. So Trey Mann, probably my second favorite play on this OKC team. The rest of the Thunder, like Bazley, Roby, Poku, none of these guys really stand out to me. I think it's just SGA and Mann that I'm looking to on OKC, and I think that's it for the Thunder today, and I think that's it for all 7 of these Monday games. So hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. As always, I do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to click that like button down below. Click that subscribe button as well if you have not yet, and also go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code Noah. When you do, and PrizePicks will give you a 100% match on your first deposit when you do sign up with my promo code. You can take a look at PrizePicks board, what they have available right now for Monday's games. As we get closer to tip-off Monday night, they'll start to add a ton more projections. You can take a look at their entire board, make some picks for yourself, potentially win up to 10 extra money. Just make sure when you sign up for PrizePicks, you use code Noah, so that way you do get that deposit bonus when you do sign up. But yeah, guys, best of luck tonight. As always, appreciate you watching. We will see you in the next video.